What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relay reverse rants, no hate. So I was sitting here thinking, I almost made the same video last week. And then I'm like, man, but I'm going to do it now because I have a question for you guys. Now, just looking at the history of Teofimo Lopez, he shook the hand of Bill Haney, and this is all on video. And I even played the video. So, for everybody to see it, that, oh, I never knew that. He shook Bill Haney's hand and he promised him that Devin Haney would be next. Never happened. Teofimo Lopez Sr. shook the hand of Bob Arum. Promised him and Lomachenko was going to get it on again. Never happened. Teofimo Lopez was asked about who does he think who's going to win between George Kambosos and Devin Haney. He said it was a setup. When he asked about that fight, you already look, it's a setup for Devin to win. He said, look, the zone already knew what I was going to do. They knew. I was getting ready to drop the belts and go to 140. So they already knew. So it was a setup the whole time, which made very little sense. And especially if you look at the stipulations at how things went for Devin Haney that he put up with to even secure the fight with George Kambosos. Now, he did go up to 140. And his father, before he actually made the move official, was already claiming that they were going after Josh Taylor. Now, as of yet, it hasn't happened. Doesn't mean that it can't, and it won't, but it hasn't happened as of yet. Okay. And I doubt very seriously that that's going to be the first fight that Teofimo Lopez has. The weight shouldn't be a problem because, like he said, he feels way more comfortable at 140, right? He has less weight to burn. That's what he said. And he feels like he's going to be that much better. So, there's no, I need to get a tune-up. No, I get tired of this tune-up bullshit. Get the cobwebs, all that. Man, listen, you guys have training camps. That's what you trained for. Get in the ring and fucking fight. All this soft bullshit. I got to have a couple touch-up fights first. And then, boy, shut the fuck up and stop talking shit then until you get yourself ready to fight. Let's go in there. Shit talking needs to just cease anyway. Just go in there and handle your business. All this, bullshit. Okay, new transformation, new body. Oh, this guy sculpted. And you always hear this ring rust excuse at the end of a fight when a guy don't look the way that he wanted to. Okay, that being said, Ryan Garcia. He was Devin Haney's mandatory. Walked away. And he announced that he was going to have an exhibition against Manny Pacquiao. It never happened. Then he went on record and said the fight with Manny. Remember the video? The fight, and this was actually a day after the fight was canceled with Pacquiao. Okay, go back and look at the timetable. A day after the fight was canceled, he did a video saying, just so everybody know, my fight with Pacquiao will not be an exhibition. It's going to be 12 rounds, and it's going to go on our records. It's going to be an official fight. That's what he said. And this was the day after the fight was canceled. Okay. So let's say he put the video out late. He should have scrapped the video. He should have made another video late and letting everybody know that no, the fight is canceled. But this was afterwards. Okay. So he doesn't fight Devin. He claims he's going to fight Javier Fortuna. No, Teofimo. That didn't happen. Then he claimed he was going to fight Tank. That didn't happen. Then he claimed he was going to fight he claimed that he was going to fight Javier Fortuna afterwards, and then he ends up with mental health issues. Okay, he finally comes back. He fights Fortuna. He beats Fortuna. Now, Rolly Romero hasn't done jack shit yet. Okay, he has no notable names on his resume in terms of victories. He was holding his own against Tank until he got stretched, which basically, that's what people need to understand. It is not just, he was doing good. Yeah, he was, but the point is he got knocked out. And it's about winning and losing. It's not about, he just looked good in that fight. And even though he lost, we're not going to, everybody going to have a Derek Chisora story. I lose, but I look good, but I try hard. No, you have to win. So he has no notable names as far as victories on his resume. He basically, when he was in training for the fight with Tank, I remember him being asked about him and Ryan, you know, you guys are friends, but you guys were fighting. He says, "Yeah, we gonna definitely fight at 140." Oh, you think so? No, I know what's gonna happen at 140. So the three amigos, they talk. They're friends outside the ring. Now, Ryan Garcia has two notable names on his record: Luke Campbell and Javier Fortuna. Teofimo Lopez has one notable win, one, and that's pretty much Lomachenko. Okay, my question is this: for everything that they did not do at 135, Teofimo is 140 now. Ryan is 140 now. It's only a matter of time before Romero goes to 140, and I believe he's going to try to pull the same thing that Ryan is pulling. I think Ryan is just clout chasing with Tank because he knows Tank is at 135, right? And has no intentions on going back to 140. Now, maybe Tank says, yeah, fuck it. I'll go at 140 and fight you. I fought there before. I go there and do it again. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the fact that he made it clear that he was standing at 135, well, the point of him calling out Teofimo, I remember somebody said, well, why wouldn't you call out Tio? He's at 140. Okay, then shut the fuck up calling out Tank then. Because if you're fighting Teofimo, why are you constantly talking about Tank? If you're fighting Teofimo, that's where your focus should be. So remember all this time I'll be invisible, now all of a sudden, oh, I'm a clown Tank until he fights me, this childish shit. You keep calling his name and saying shit. That's not bothering anybody. It's just you keep talking. So if you campaigning at 140, like I said before, why are you calling out Tank's name? Why didn't you say before I go to 140, I want Tank? See, you just fought a smaller guy in Javier Fortuna. So one more fight at 135 ain't gonna hurt you. You see the point what I'm saying? So now if you want to fight Teofimo and you said out your mouth, no, me and Teofimo, I'm fighting him. That's my next. Okay, then if that's your next fight, then you should be talking this shit to Teofimo. We should be hearing, videos of you two y'all getting ready to fight. Teofimo should be discussing this. Your team, his team, y'all should be putting video packages together. This is the fight that you should be leading up to. Start promoting this fight. All you're doing, he said, if I don't get Tank, then I want Teofimo. That's what he said. But now he announces he's at 140, but he's constantly Tank, you pussy, Tank, you bitch, Tank, you this, Tank, you that. Oh, I know you scared. But you're no longer at 135 and Tank is. Okay. So my question, people, and Raleigh, before I get to that, Raleigh, who he's a punk ass bitch, he got lucky, we need all the excuses. After you said you're betting on yourself, you told people to bet their house, bet all their money, he's knocking Tank out in the first round, and that's all it is to it. That never happened, and then you got knocked out yourself. So here's my thing. For all the things that none of them did at 135, okay? For what they did accomplish, okay? Like I said, Lomachenko's one man. It's not like you beat a god or beat a deity, you beat a man, you beat a human being, okay? Lomachenko is one name. Their resumes are not stacked. Let's be real. Neither one of them have a stacked resume. Now, I think Teofimo is a very good fighter, and remember, I predicted him to beat Lomachenko, and he did. I think Ryan Garcia is a very good fighter, okay? Romero has improved, but he's Romero. So, what type of impact are they going to have at 140? Like, for all the talent that's at 135, if they couldn't get all these fights together for whatever reason at 135, is it a guarantee that at 140 they're going to make a bigger impact at 140 than they did at 135? The impact that they should have made at 135 are all of a sudden now they're going to do it at 140. And remember, the three of them being there are all friends. So for all of them to be at 140 at the same time, what's going to be so different is my question. What type of impact are they going to make at 140? When they had the most stacked, most interested, most hottest division was at 135 for a while. And none of these fights the majority of these fights didn't happen. And what's so funny is the one guy that they was doubting the most was Tank. Oh, Tank got to this, Tank got to do this, Tank got to do that. Yet he's a 3-weight division champion. A 3-weight division champion. The other guy, who they said has pillows for fists, he can't beat none of the top guys. And they all thought George Kambosos was going to beat him. Is now undisputed. Teo wasn't undisputed. He was unified. But guess what? The guys that everybody thought was going to be that guy, they're running the 140. So what are they going to accomplish? What are they going to accomplish at 140 that they didn't accomplish at 135? I mean, that's yet to be seen. But I mean, I'm trying to understand the logic in, if it's just about I've outgrown the weight class, cool. I get it. But it's got to be more than that. Not to mention, Devin, Ryan says something to try to discredit Devin Haney, and he constantly talked about how Devin Haney was that guy. And I played the video for you. He was tougher than, going to be the toughest one to beat out all of these other guys, right? But, lately he made a comment saying he wouldn't be too proud to say he's unified champion by beating George Kambosos. And he himself was calling out who? George Kambosos. It's kind of like, when, Oscar De La Hoya tried to discredit Floyd Mayweather for fighting Conor McGregor. He's disgracing his legacy. He's hurting his legacy to fight this guy Conor. And in the same conversation, all in the same breath, the motherfucker asked Oscar De La Hoya, but what if Conor wanted to fight Canelo? Because we, got word, we can make the fight happen. Oh, wait. Now, Floyd is disgracing himself, and Floyd is 38, 39, pretty much, went away, came back for this huge $300 million fight that he made with Conor. Yet, Canelo, all of a sudden, he's not tainting his legacy. Why would he be interested in fighting Conor? For what? This was an exit strategy for Floyd. This was generational wealth money. This was all this, he had that with Pacquiao. He did it again with Conor. So now all of a sudden, it's a disgrace to Floyd. It's tainting his legacy, but it's not tainting Canelo. Just like that, nah. If something's a bad idea, you don't do it because it's like if you feel like something is morally wrong, you don't change that because of a dollar amount or now because you can benefit from it. If it goes against your morals and principles, you're like, no, I don't care how much money. I don't do that. That's not me. But it's easy to say that when it's not you and it's somebody else. So same thing, same exact thing. Calling guys out when you're no longer in the division with them and then trying to make the excuse of, I want to fight, but they don't because they won't come up to see me. And Teofimo made the same type of comment. All these guys drain themselves to make 135. Yo, they want that smoke. They got to come see me at 140. But to call somebody's name and say that they're scared, they're ducking you, you the one left the division. And here's the crazy thing. When you were in a division, before you even thought about going to 140, you ducked your mandatory in Devin Haney. And this is a fact. This ain't no fucking, it seemed like, no. You was his mandatory and you did not make that fight. So to go to 140, then what? And my whole thing is, like I said before, once you say, if I don't get this fight, then I want such a, no. That's all you should have been saying. And you could have said, you know what? Let's do whatever we have to do to make this fight happen. I'm calling out Tank Davis right now. And we're going to have my people going to contact his people. We want this fight at 135. And then I'm going to, you ain't got to mention I'm going to 140. But at the same time, or if you want to say, then I want to go to 140. But I want this fight with him before I do that. I want Tank. Now, you putting that pressure out there, and there's no reason for the fight to not happen, right? You're letting them know. But when you say, well, if I don't, that's like saying, it's like, it's like this, right? You ever heard a couple talking and one say to the other, like, do you love me? And the other one go, if you love me. That's not what I asked you. You ask a person, do they love you? If you love me. So their answer is just based on your answer, but they're not speaking from what they feel. So this is that type of thing. If I don't get the fight, you're already saying if I don't. Why? Because you know that more than likely that fight's not going to happen because you're going to 140 and Tank has already made it clear he's standing at 135. So if Tank decides to go to 140, that's so be it. But the little game, the act. So now when you go to 140, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. None of you guys, Teofimo, you know, cashed in when he fought Lomachenko because Lomachenko had the majority of the belts. Okay, except for Devin Haney's WBC, and people like Max Kellerman and different people kept their ESPN. They were calling Teofimo the undisputed champion when he wasn't. They was calling Lomachenko undisputed champion when he wasn't. Clearly, because as long as Devin Haney had that WBC franchise, didn't mean shit as far as making you that guy. So now Devin Haney rubbed it in because he's everything, undisputed and franchise. So now, all of a sudden, everybody wants to leave 135. Okay, so let's say this. When y'all go to 140, when you look at who's there, nobody's looking at 140 the same way they looked at 135. And it was also looking out for, at some point, Shakur Stevenson is going to come to 135. And he like, man, all of them plus Shakur. And so you look at all of that and you think they go to 140 and you just look at who's there. I don't see them, unless Teofimo fights Ryan. Riley, he ain't did shit yet. And Ryan, none of them really did shit in terms of looking at their career with to be able to stack these names. I beat him. They only have like I said, two for Luke Campbell and Fortuna for Ryan, and you got Lomachenko for Teofimo. And they looked at Teofimo like because he beat Lomachenko, it don't matter who else he beat. He beat the man. That beat the man bullshit, whatever. So my thing is this, and even with George Campbell still at 135, they're not. But I'm saying the reason too that I'm asking this question is because nobody is talking like, yo, 140 is on fire. They got Teofimo and Ryan Garcia. You don't hear that. Nobody gives a shit about what Riley's talking about. Riley just became a shit talker, and then he finally got his ass knocked out. So now it's like, now what? All right, Riley, you did all that talk. So people are like, all right. I don't feel like there's fights that you can make at 140 that was bigger fights than what you could have made with these guys all at 135. And that's one of the things that I thought about why we asking that question too. Has several reasons. I already stated the reasons why. Well, what are these guys going to do at 140 that's going to be so significant or better than what they did at 135? Now, we've yet to see it, so let's just say it's coming. We'll be patient and wait and see how things go. But what I'm saying is look at how lit the 135 division was. And that no matter what you talked about in boxing, the 135 division kept coming up. Nobody's talking about 140 like that. And that's what I'm saying. So let's just say, for example, if Devin Haney decides I'm going to 140, Tank decides I'm going to 140, Shakur Stevens decides I'm going to 140. Now you got them plus Ryan plus Teofimo, and Raleigh goes up there, whatever, however, already with Josh, Ramirez, Regis, and all these, Now it's like all of these divisions are there again. I mean, these guys in the division all at the same time again. But getting these guys in the ring together is a problem. Because look at George Kambosos. Ever since he lost the belts to Haney, who's talking about George Kambosos? Nobody. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's talking about George Kambosos. George Kambosos went home to his country in Fort Devon, and like I said, yeah, he's from Australia, so they had a nice crowd out there. He's not like he can just go anywhere. Oh, that's George Kambosos. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So when you talk about these fights as super fights and all that, like, I mean, people, you gotta look at things realistically, man. I don't care about the fanboy stuff. I look at who's doing what and who's trying to do what. When I said Bill and Devin Haney. When I said Team Haney is the only one at 135 that's trying to actually make all this shit happen. Look at the fucking hard work. Is it just by coincidence that Devin Haney all of a sudden is the undisputed champion 135? But you had people trying to tell me, oh, it's all cap. He don't really want no smoke. He's just getting in people's faces, trying to make it look like, what the? Okay, so he's confronting people on camera. Therefore, there's no he said, she said. It's no, when y'all were face to face, it was a different energy. Don't say all this bullshit now, because face to face, you wasn't saying all of that, right? Pretty much, look at how things work. It's like, people will always say, I always remind people, Michael Jordan wasn't the first round draft pick, but he worked his ass off, and look at what MJ became. So it don't matter. People, I think Dominique better. They always try to find somebody to say that they're better than the person that's getting all the attention. But then when they play each other, you see like, nah, he's here, but this motherfucker's here. So even though they both A-plus players, it's a difference between the two A-plus players. And that's what you see. Same thing when you got these guys here now. Look, and I always tell people, it's not about who you think will win. It's the fact that the fights need to happen. I just don't see how Ryan feels comfortable even going to 140 with that weak-ass resume and with the stacked competition that they had at 135. Same with Teofimo, and the same, I can say the same for Raleigh, because he's claiming he's going there because he said him and Ryan are going to fight at 140. I know this. Okay, they talked about that already. You know it. That's why, especially if you know that, okay, this weight bothering me, I'm cutting too much weight, I'm draining myself, I need to go up, then you should have been trying to secure those fights with the Haneys or Tanks and all. That way, when you go up, and remember, Lopez sat there and said, nah, man, they got to fight somebody to prove that they need to be here with me. Remember, he said George Kambosos was better than Ryan. This was his words. His resume is better. He fought better fighters. I think he's better than Ryan, Tank, and Haney. That was his bullshit excuse. But then he said that. But then he turned around and said it was a setup. Because they know ain't no way in hell Kambosos is going to beat Haney. But you said he was better than Haney. And so when you also shook the hands with Bill and Bob Arum shook hands with your dad, and you said, the zone already knew what I was going to do. I was about to drop the belts and go to 140. That means you knew when you shook Bill's hand you was lying. You was never going to fight Devin Haney in the first place. You knew when your father shook Bob Arum's hand that Lomachenko was next. You never had no intentions on rematching Lomachenko. You said the zone knew what you were going to do and that they set this up for Haney to win. No, they didn't set nothing up for Haney to win. They knew what you was going to do. But basically, the zone ain't had nothing to do with the decision. You make it sound like the guys from the zone was in there like, no, they wasn't the judges. And you got your ass whooped and claimed that you won at least 10 of those 12 rounds, and your father said you won every round, right? So, looking at the history of these guys, what's going to be so different at 140? And why is nobody talking about 140 like this is a lit division now? Why is nobody, people still want to know, is Shakur coming to 135? Tank is still at 135. Haney's still at 135. So it goes to show you who got the juice. And it's not them three motherfuckers, not the three Amigos. The three Amigos is blah, blah, blah. So sorry, so sad, too bad. That's the sob story. Ryan just beat Fortuna, and he's acting like a child, keep calling Tank's name out and making these little stupid videos. Well, you said if you don't get him, you want, right? So why not just say, look, Tank, if you don't want to come to 140, just say you don't want to come to 140. We not going to fight? All right, no problem. Then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to beat Teofimo's ass. Instead of that, no, they handle him like a kid. Just keep making stupid-ass videos. And I'm like, man, this is senseless. Fanboys who ha-ha, he and LOL think everything's funny. But when you look at it, all he's doing is bamboozling you guys. Because I know for myself, it's like this, right? I'm a heavyweight. So if I want to fight Anthony Joshua, and you ask me who do I want to fight, I'm not going to say to you, and I know we all different, but at the same time, I'm not going to say, Well, if I don't get the Anthony Joshua fight, then I want Deontay Wilder. All I'm gonna talk about is Anthony Joshua because that's the fight I want. Negotiations don't go through. Once I get word, me and my team, that Anthony Joshua, that fight's not happening. Okay, well, we tried to make the Joshua fight happen. That's not happening. So maybe we can get Wilder. That's what grown-ups do. I don't need to get in front of a camera. Them niggas don't want that shit, man. They don't want no smoke with me. AJ's a bitch. He's a pussy. He's a punk. I called that motherfucker out. That bitch ass nigga ain't want it. Yo, Wilder, none of these niggas don't want. I don't need to do all of that. I don't think no fighter needs to do all of that. And then you do all of that, and you wind up fighting some meatballs. And the excuse is they don't want to fight you, so you got to fight who's available. But no, you're talking like these meatballs are just as good or better than the Wilders or the Anthony Joshuas, or the Tyson Furies. And it's like, no, stop playing. That guy you fought ain't shit. So, when I hear all of this talking about if I don't know, one fighter at a time. This form of so-called entertainment is boring, it's stupid, and it's making the fight game very dry, very dull. And anytime you have, at one point, 147 was that division. Why? Because you had Errol Spence, you had Keith Thurman, you had Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and then motherfucking Terrence Crawford came up in there, and they like, yeah. Then all of a sudden, here you got Shakur Stevenson. I mean, not Shakur Stevenson. You got Devin Haney. You got Tank Davis. You got Teofimo Lopez. You got Ryan Garcia. And everybody was like, yeah, we want to see this, right? And it was because the fights that was going on. But then you always got haters. That every time someone fights, oh, this guy would have beat this guy. Oh, you always say that. And it's just funny because when you no longer have these fighters in the same division, the stupid fanboys, oh man, he ain't want no smoke because he would have did this and he would have did that. They were all in the same division at the same time. So if you didn't see the value in each other at 135, who the fuck at 140 are you looking at that you think this is going to be bigger than 135? So I don't really see no real excitement there. And I'm not saying that there's not good fighters there and fights to be made there, but it's not the same hype at 140 as it is at 135, even still. And so what you got left, I know Shakur Stevenson has a fight coming up soon. So we know that if he does come to 140, it's not anytime soon. I think he stays at 135 and defend his belt and keep doing what he's doing until maybe it's just, it's like, okay, it's pointless. Nobody's here anymore. Let me move up. Who knows? But anyway, let me know in the comment section, what do y'all think about the three Amigos going to 140? And how is it going to be any different or better than what they could have done at 135? Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.